Okay, today is the 10th lesson of Scratch course, which is the last to be designed as the last lesson in Scratch course. So what are we going to do today is to code a game that we compete with computer. Okay, so again we will do a same style where we do a basic version, and then the challenge version, I will list out the challenge points in the end of the video, and you're supposed to finish that to enhance your coding skills. And if you got any questions that you don't know how to achieve that, do reach out to us, and then we will advise accordingly. Okay, so let's start. First, I will do a simple demonstration on what is the outcome of the game. So let's start here. So let me show you the outcome of the game of the basic version. Okay, so there's a ball in the middle. The red color one is played by ourselves, the human, and the blue color player is played by the computer. So we are actually on the left side, and our score is recorded as player 1. So let's say if I couldn't be able to catch the ball, as you can see, the computer wins. So player 2 will get 1 point. So you see that every time the character catch the ball, it will change the costume, and it actually follows the mouse directions. So I control the character by the mouse, and the computer detect the ball position and move to the ball position. Okay, so this is a simple demonstration. When it reaches to 5 points, on whichever side, whether it's human being or a computer, then the game shall end. So let's try to get the last score. Let the computer win, and you can see the countdown stopped. Everything stopped. Okay, and it stopped at 5 score here. So this is the basic version. At the end of the basic version coding, I will show you the advanced version. What is the challenge version looks like. Okay, let's start. So first, we will need to get the spread ready, which is the ball, tennis ball. Where's the tennis ball? Okay, yeah. And we want to get the backdrop ready. The backdrop I selected is soccer 2, and backdrop 1 can delete it. Now, let's code the ball first before we add in players. So when the game started, when the flag is clicked, I'm going to hide the ball first. Oh, need to select the sprite. Okay, let me redo this part. Taking 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's code the tennis ball first. So when the game starts, we want to hide the tennis ball, hide the sprite, and then we are going to wait for the goal to start running. So the ball need to hide first. Now it's time to add a sprite, and then choose different costumes. So the first one is ready, the word ready. Remember at the beginning of the game there's a 2 word running out, so that is the thing that we need to do. Okay, here, ready, put in the middle, marker. Okay, then I want to position it into middle, so set the X and Y to middle. Next, we are going to do another costume in this sprite, which we want it to write as go, right? And then change the color to green. Or maybe I should put an exclamation mark or something. go. Right. The next one we are going to do is start coding out the sprite. Let's rename the sprite properly. This is a very important and good habit to keep. Always name your variables, name your sprite properly so that it's easily understand if you come back to your code again after some time. Okay. Right. Let's see the code. So how I'm going to code it. Now we know that at the beginning we're going to hide our ball, and this ready go should start, right? So we want it to definitely have a flag clicked, and we want to set the size to 0 first so that it's growing from small size to big size. And we want to show it. So even though at this point, right, you will see nothing, okay, and you will see something because it's the size too small, but then you can see that the ball is gone, and there's a little goal in the middle. Okay, now we're going to enlarge the start sprite by repeated block. So I want to repeat 10 times, and each time I want to make sure that the costume go to the first one, the ready costume, yeah, and change the size by 10. So 10 times 10 is 100, and in the end it will reach to the full size. And I want to give a different color effect, so on each repeat action I want to change the color by 25. Let's run this and see the effect. Okay, can you see the effect? All right, after that let's wait 1 second so that the user will get ready. So this 1 second to distract user a bit from the running out text. Okay, wait 1 second or maybe 2 seconds, up to your own design, and then we're going to repeat another 10 instructions, which is on costume 2, the goal part, and again change color by 25. Okay, that's it. Okay, let's play again. Right, so when this is ready and you want to broadcast the message to get all the sprite and events to be ready, yeah, so this one is broadcast start. And after we broadcast the start message, we want to hide the words, so hide the sprite, and you can see this. Okay, play again. Alright, so if you want to add another 1 second in between here, that's fine, but I will just leave it as it is. Okay, let's go to the ball. So when I broadcast the start, who is the receiver here? Well, the receiver is the ball. Okay, so when I receive start, I want to show myself. So the ball should get ready in the center position, and we want to place it under here. 0 and 0 position means the center. Then we're going to set the variable. We need to create one variable to name it as start. Okay, and this variable will in charge of whether certain loopings or certain code blocks should run or not. Okay, so here when the start set to false, okay, then we want to create another 2 variable is for player 1 and player 2. Okay, so once we have these 2 variables, then we can set the variable to 0. The reason is we want to reset the points on each play to whenever it restart the game, the points should be reset to 0 also. So the next player shouldn't continue the previous player's score. Okay, that's the reason. Okay, after that, we are going to code for the next one. Okay, so this is one block where it set up the start variables, player 1, player 2, positions, and show or not show. Another block, right, when I receive start is to in charge of looping. Okay, so let's do here. When I receive start, I have a forever loop, and in this forever loop I want to continuously check whether whether the true variable is equals to true. The start variable, whether the start variable equals to true. Okay, if it is equals to true, then I'm going to start moving the sprite. Move 15 steps on each loop. And I also go to 0 and 0. Then start broadcast the countdown. So remember at the beginning of the game just now, when I demoed it, basic version, the ball has a 3, 2, 1 countdown. So this is how we control it. Okay, and once we broadcast the countdown, because definitely due to this block is set to false, right? And false will fall into the else part. And the else part will trigger the broadcast countdown. And who is the receiver of countdown? We're going to do the countdown block now. When I receive countdown, I'm going to do the actual countdown. Say 3, 2, 1. Okay, so here, change the value inside. And each say block is 1 second to run it. And we want to point the tennis ball in a direction of 90, so it goes to the left side first. Minus 90, so it points to the to benefit our human players. We want it to, point to the human player direction first. Okay, then we're going to set the start to true. Now is the time to true. Okay, at this point, let me explain. So when I receive countdown, I say 3, 2, 1, and I set the position, the direction of the ball's moving direction. Then I set to true or to the start variable. Because of this block, on the next check, on the next looping check, do we still false on the else part? Which is no, right? We false on the if block part. So when the start is true, then I start to move it. So this will result in the effect that after countdown, the ball will start moving. So that's it. Okay, right now let's test our code, see whether we need to enhance our code or is there any problems. So at the middle point of coding, right, or every 5 minutes or 10 minutes of work, do test your code, just in case that you have created some problem yourself and you need to fix it. Okay, so let's run. You see here we got a problem. It doesn't really count down. What's the issue here? The issue is I fall into the forever block and I broadcast the countdown, and when I receive the countdown, it really don't have time to run the second block onwards, because whenever it reaches 3, then it will broadcast countdown again. So it will broadcast countdown non-stop. The solution to this is to use another block instead of just broadcast. We want to broadcast and wait, so that the forever loop won't run so fast that the second code cannot even run. Okay, so let's test again. Let me change it to countdown. Right, let's go. Now it works. Okay, so test again and see everything is okay, then you continue your work. So after countdown, then I set to true where it run that, oh, okay, so it's true, then I shouldn't go into else block already. I should move the ball by minus 90 direction and moving 15 steps on every loop. Okay, so after this, we are going to do the next functionality, is where we want to check whether the ball has reached to the edge of the screen, edge of the stage. Either of the side edge, right, when it reached to a certain point, then we should start accumulate scores for players. Meaning that if the ball go to the left side and I didn't catch it, then the opposite player should get the score. So let's do it. When the flag is clicked, I do a forever check, And inside this forever check, I want to check whether two edges are reached, so I need two if block. Let's do the first if block first. It checks that whether the X position, let me get the position, whether the X position is larger than 200. As we know that if it's on the right side, 200 is reaching to the right side edge already, okay? And then we want to do instructions inside this block. Change player 1 by 1, because if the right side player haven't catch it, then we should get the score, right? So it's player 1. Later we will add the sprite in. Okay, so next is set the start to false first. So when it accumulate the score, we want to set the start variable to false and to reset the ball into middle position and rerun. Okay. After that, we're going to do another checking. If the X position is less than minus 200, which is 4 on the left side, then we're going to change the player 2 by 1 and set the start to false again. Okay, with this, it should add the score if we didn't do anything about the catching ball action. Okay, so let's test it. Okay. Okay, do you see that the player 2 will accumulate the score? And then the ball every time will back to the original position because it's set to false. Okay, so with this, actually we can continue to do the next functionality. Okay, the next one is we want to get the ball bounce back, right? But we need the player to be ready before we can do the touching code where the ball touch the player, then it should bounce back in the other direction. Okay, so let's add the player 1 first. Okay, let's try to add in player 1, which I use butter as a choice. Okay, so here we're going to flip the costume. I want to use this. Alright, so just now I couldn't flip, right? Because you are choosing, maybe you are choosing the wrong tool here. So make sure you use the select tool, then you should be able to flip the character. Okay, here is the ready position of player 1. Again, name your sprite properly. Player 1. And after that, we only want to choose the first and third costume to use. So let's flip it also. Delete the unused ones to make your project clean and clear. Okay, we just remember the name. Player, the first standby one is, the default one is A, and then is C. Okay, when they touch the ball, it should change the costume to the next one. Okay, so let's go back to our code for the player 1. Okay, so we continue to code the ball. Now we got player 1 ready, right? So once we want to control that the tennis ball touch the player 1, we want it to point to the opposite direction. So how to do this? Again, using a flag and with a forever block to check. We need to check two players, right? So we need two if block. Then let's do the first player 1. If the tennis ball is touching player 1, then I want to point in a direction. Let's go to motion, point towards, point in direction. Okay, point in direction. I can set 90 here, so it will go straight to the opposite side, but later I will edit the code more to show you why I want to enhance this part. And set rotation style to rock all around, so the ball will rotate around to give you to give player the animation at the ball rolling around. Okay, so let's test it. Okay, so it does roll back to the opposite direction, but as you can see, the ball keeps rolling into the same predicted way where it's minus 90 or 90. It's definitely a boring game if we can predict how the ball is going to run towards the opposite or towards you. So we are going to put some randomness inside here. We're going to use the random block, and we're going to say that, hey, I want to let the ball roll in the range of 30 to 100 degrees back to the opposite side. Okay, so let's test now. Now it adds in some randomness in the ball flowing direction. We can't really predict where the ball should flow, but it would be something different each time. Okay, either up or down or in the middle. Here we add some fun element here. Okay, so once this one is done, we should know that how to tackle the player 2. So let's add in player 2 also. We don't really have player 2 now, so I'm going to import player 2 from my computer. The reason I import player 2 is I do edit the character costume color, and the code is already here. Later I will explain the code, but let's do player 1's code, then you should be able to understand player 2's code. But the main thing I want to give a reason here is I take a long time to color it. Okay, so I don't want to spend the time here to show you all how to color it, but I can teach you a short way. So if you're going to see that, hey, how come you can color each things here? The reason is in, okay, let me add in to explain. Okay, not this one. But search easier. Okay, let me use this one for example. As you can see here, this part, right, they actually group it where you need to ungroup. Use this icon to ungroup it, then you can select each items to color, to a different color. If you didn't ungroup it, right, so let's say I choose this part and I didn't click ungroup, when I change it, it will change the whole thing into a full color where it's not so nice, right? So this part I actually did a lot on grouping and grouping to make the color different. That's why I don't want to spend the time here to occupy your time here. You can pause the video and then do the ungrouping and color the computer player to whichever color you like. Okay, but then I want to explain how you can color the individual parts. For this one, if I want to ungroup, right, then I can recolor the individual part here. Okay, just to show you all how to do it. Alright, so you all take time to recolor into the ones that you want. I will not take too much time here to color it. Okay, let's do the focus on the coding. Right, so let's go to player 1. And player 1 is nothing here, but I want to complete the player 2 first, since we got player 2 ready. So when touching player 2, and these two blocks can just right click and duplicate into here. Then we can say that the opposite range should be minus 40 to minus 130. Of course, you can do a wider range or a shorter range. This one depends on the design. You can always test the number and see which number suits you the best. But the main concept is on the right side, the number should be positive. If you want to get the ball to fly to the left side, it should be negative. This one we already explained in the XY coordinates in lesson 1. Hope you can remember. If you cannot remember, go back to lesson 1 and revisit the video again. Okay, so the ball code is mostly done. So we are going to code the player 1. Okay, so player 1, we are going to, because it's our own control so the other opposite side player 2 is computer, played by the computer. So we're going to code our side code first. When I receive start, okay, and when I receive flag, both one you need to put in the control. So in the beginning, I only want to see really go, right? So player 1, I shouldn't be seeing it. That's why we need the start. Flag is clicked. I'm going to hide myself. And once I receive start, then I can show myself and switch to the costume A. Then set Y to 0 because we want to stay in the middle of the Y position. Okay, and then we need a forever loop to follow the mouse direction. Set Y to mouse Y. This one we already go through in lesson 3. Lesson 3 or lesson 4, the 4 reporter blocks. If you forgot the concept over there, then you can always refer there. Okay. So let's test the code and see how. Can you see that the player 1 is moving? Yeah, it actually can react to the tennis ball already. Okay, so I'll explain the code on the computer side because it's working because the code is ready there. Okay, so let me finish up the player 1 first. So after this, we are going to do the next functionality where when I receive start, right, I will continue to check, wait until the player equals to 5 scores, then I'm going to stop all the code. Okay, so this part, it just need 3 lines of code. When I receive start, wait until the player 1 score is 5, and I'm going to stop all the code. Okay, then the next code is if I'm touching the tennis ball, I want to change to another costume, right? So this part, how to do it is, of course, listening to the message first. When I receive start, then I'm going to have a forever code. Inside there, I'm going to repeatedly checking if I'm touching the tennis ball. If I am touching the tennis ball, then I'm going to change to the next costume and wait 0.5 times because we don't want it to change so fast that the player can't really enjoy the short animation. Then we want to change back the costume to A. Now is a question. Where should I put it? Should I put it inside here in the if block, or should I put it outside the if block? Let's try inside. What will happen? Same is okay here. Okay, let's try outside. What will happen? Okay, so we can see that actually on both sides it's working perfectly fine. Okay, the reason is because we wait for 0.5 seconds and it's nice time span that allows us to change to the next costume and then go back to the default costume. Okay, so whichever location you want to put is fine. So let's just put inside here. Right. Let's test again and then prepare to do the next block. You can find here. Okay, so when this one is done, I'm going to explain the player 2's code. Okay, this has 5 blocks, very similar to player 1. When the game starts, I want to hide the player 2, and when I receive start, I want to switch costume to A, beta A, to default costume here. Okay, and then I'm going to set the Y location to 0, stay in the middle, and set the X to 200. I want to set to a specific X location. Of course, you can edit this code to set your X location on your player 1 too, but I don't think we need it now because I feel this position is okay. You can use code to control, or you can do a manual adjustment. That's fine. Okay, and then show. After that, we're going to check similar to this code. When I receive start, I'm going to continue check that I wait until 5 scores for player 2. I'm going to stop the game. And here I'm going to change the costume also. So this 4 block, 1, 2, 3, 4, this 4 block is exactly the same as player 1. The only different block here is this block actually plays the important part on how to react, how to tell computer how to react when the ball is running towards flying towards the player 2. Okay, so this is a code where it sits inside here. It seems long, but it is actually this. Okay, it's actually this. So let me do this line of code to explain. So we want it catch the ball, right? But which ball direction it goes, we need to get the location of the ball. So that's why you see here in the sensing, we want to set this. Okay, you use this code, and then we will choose the tennis ball. You cannot really see the tennis ball here, right? It's because you need to choose over here on the right side. So once you choose the tennis ball, you can choose the XY position. Okay, so we need a Y position because it's going to move up and down. So when we know the Y position of the tennis ball, then we roughly know the X position because we want the player to set at the 200 coordinates for X position. So X position of the tennis ball should be around here also. Whenever it reaches to 200, no matter up and down, it should find using this line of code. Okay, then we want to react how much speed should I go to this location. Then we need to use the random block where the computer should react between 0 to 0.1 second to run to this location to catch the ball. Of course, you can play the trick that I want the computer to react slowly. You can put 0.5 or even 1. Then the computer will be super slow. So see here. Do you see the computer is moving much slower? Yeah, so it takes time to choose how many seconds should I react. Oh, I need to take 0.5 seconds. Okay, I need to wait 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5. Then I need to go to this location. So it's really slow in this way that we can easily win over the computer. But if we don't play cheat, we place by this code, you can see that the computer is actually running quite fast and it's very hard to win them. Do you see the movement of the computer is quite fast? Even though I push the ball into the up corner, the computer can fly there and catch the ball. Okay, so it really depends on how you want to design your game. Maybe you can do a different level up to speed up the computer on different levels, easy, hard, or super hard mode. Okay, so I will throw away this code. So with this, we have complete the whole basic version of the game. Let me show you, hope you understand all the code, and let me show you how we're going to do the challenge part, or what are the challenge part effect, which is different from the basic version. Okay, now when you go to the folder, if you play the challenge part here, okay, though I didn't really add a new background music, you can always add a background music, but I'm thinking that we have done so many background music, so we don't really need to do now. Okay, so this is the part of the challenge that I want you all to achieve. So basically, when I get 3 scores, and the player also, computer also get 3 score, right? But you can have an option to save your score, or play again, or get the score. Okay, so let's say I want to save my current score, and let's say I want to input a name down. My password, let's say 12345, or 123, make it easier. And you can see that I have a special code assigned to me, it's 369 based on my password 123. And with this, if I play again, my score will be reset, right, to 0. I think I set a timer that when it reaches to 30 seconds, I should show up the save score screen. So let's wait to that time span. So as you can see, it's no more like 5 score, the game stopped. It's now based on the timer. Okay, 30-second reached. Then let's say I want to get my previous score, so I can click this button and it asks me what is my password. So I say 123 is my password, and what is the special code that just now is shown is 369, and then you can straight away see that the 0 score is updated to my previous score. Okay, so this is how you can actually do a save score in the play. As long as you don't press the stop button, you can save as much score as you like on different players. Let's say this one is you play, next one is your friend play, and you want to save on different score version. And let's say click play again, and you can go back to the new game. So you can let your sisters or brothers, friends to play the game and save their scores. I set the computer speed really slow, so okay, and then I can save another score. Let's say I want to Jim and password 567, and you can see that the Jim special code is this. Okay, so if Jim want to get the his or her score, then he need to remember his password plus this special code to retrieve back the score. So this is the challenge part. I didn't really put in the background music, the button click, all this. You can put a music effect in your game to make it more fun, or time up music. So this is the whole Scratch course that we designed for y'all. If you got any questions that you cannot do certain parts of the challenges, do reach out to us, or if you can do it, that's great. Follow the challenge listing points at the end of video and try to achieve them to really go the extra miles to train your coding skills. I hope you all the best in the coming weeks, and the next course we are coming up is beginner Python from lesson 1 onwards. Stay tuned and we will be back. Thank you.